I'm giving you a quick tutorial on how to create a new record type specifically for the case object, but this process is going to be very similar for every standard and custom object in Salesforce. But the case object is a little different because in order to create a record type, you're also going to have to create a support process. And the support process, is a way to organize the statuses of your case object as you're providing support. So let's first think about why would we want to create a record type versus just like a pick list field that has different values available. And record types ultimately control page layout assignments, which is very helpful when you have multiple teams using different cases. So let's say you had a billing team, you had an IT support team, you had a sales, like a pre-sale support team, things like that. You would want to have different page layouts because they care about different values that might be available on the case object. They care about different values within pick lists. And they just want to have a very different experience when they look at cases in Salesforce versus if all you had was a pick list that maybe had a different type available, then they have to have the same layouts. It'll get a little bit difficult for the user to have a clean, streamlined experience. All right, but I also want to caution, you don't want to be creating a ton of record types if you just don't need them because they will add a level of complexity to your organization. Right. So let's say I'm ready to create a record type and I want to create one for our onboarding team to organize their onboarding records. So first I come in and it's going to ask me the record type and I want to call it onboarding record. And it's going to ask me the support process. So I already created one, but let's go really fast and look at the support processes. So I see the onboarding, and you can easily create a new one, but here's the onboarding one. And in this case, these would be the different values available in think of like an opportunity. It would be like a stage name, and you can add more to these to the pick list field, but I just want new, working, closed. I'm going to keep it very streamlined. A billing team, for example, they want to have escalated in their support process. So let's go back to the case object, and we'll go back to record types, new record type. Here we go. So we're going to use onboarding and then support process. I'm choosing onboarding. I'm going to go ahead and make it available to everyone. And then the page layout, I'm going to use the regular case layout that I have, and that's going to apply to all users. Now, if we had the billing team, we might say, okay, everybody with this specific profile, which we kind of need to move away from and use permission sets, but everybody with this profile would use a different layout because they're going to be working with a different record type. And then we just save it. Great. And then these are our pick lists available. So let's go into priority. You might say, okay, with onboarding, we only have, high and low priority. We don't really use medium priority. Any pick list can be edited, and that's where we can get really creative with how we organize our record types. The other would be our page layouts. right? So this is where we could create our different page layouts and then assign it again to the profile. So right now, if we had let's see here, we have our case layout. So if we had a new page layout for onboarding case, then we could edit how we want it to look. And then when it's saved, we can go to the page layouts. And then we could say, okay, if you're looking at a onboarding record, I can say our onboarding case layout, and we can select all of the onboarding records. So anytime, if you're sales profile and you're looking at an onboarding record, we're going to change it to onboarding case. There we go. Once it saves and updates, right. So if you're looking at a onboarding record of any profile, you're going to see the specific onboarding case layout. If we have unassigned record types, which are the ones that currently exist, or we create more record types and they're not assigned yet, they're going to see the standard case layout. All right, so that's just a quick run through of when to use record types and then how to create one on the case object.